This is the Homecoming with the Downing Brothers podcast, where we talk about real estate, business, and financial literacy. They live by the motto, dream, plan, execute. Your host, Anthony and Anton Downing.
Welcome to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. This is Anthony. This is Anton. And man, it's been a while since we had a podcast, bro. Man, COVID has changed everything in 2020. You know, it's been so long that it's almost like we had to start over from the beginning. Like, we had to actually bring somebody that we actually had in the beginning of the process from what? Episode 2? Episode 2. We got Chris Senegal in here. Now how it's crazy this year, but you've still been plugging along doing everything you said you were going to do.
Man, yeah. You know, despite everything that's going on, man, I haven't slowed down. So, you know, it's just been a blessing, I guess.
Right, because, I mean, if we go back to episode 2, all the way back to August of 2019, you came on here and you were telling us that you bought a block and that you intended to redevelop that block. Like, you were going to, like, knock down the properties and then start building new construction. Mm-hmm. That's what you were telling us. You know, a lot of people tell us what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And we cheer on everybody's dreams. But, like, did you actually do that?
Yeah, so the first time I came on that first block, I had already tore everything down. I was getting ready to build and sell the townhouses. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, in a zip code that had no new construction at all. So, in a historically black neighborhood.
That's crazy. And the thing is, well, actually, I mean, this is Homecoming, so you did this in Houston, but before we talk about Houston and everything that you've done in Houston, let's reiterate. Where are you from? Like, where's home?
So I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Grew up in Port Arthur, Texas. Mm-hmm. But I spent like 8-9 years in each. So been in Houston since 2008.
All right, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like before, like you weren't always a developer, a real estate developer. So like before you did this, like what were you doing?
Man, I went to college for civil engineering on a full academic scholarship. Got that good corporate job, you know. And after a year, I was like, I can't do this for 40 years.
Right.
So yeah. So immediately my mind shifted to early escape plan.
Right.
And got into real estate in 2008. Started flipping houses in the last recession. So, you know, this is a golden time. Most people are scared of the recession and scared to get in anything new. But as far as real estate goes, this is probably the best time to get in.
Man, I totally agree. Because I remember during the last recession, that was when I bought my first property. And then shortly after that, he got his. Mm-hmm. And I remember learning from that period of time, like how important it was to actually like have cash and have some capital and be in a position to actually take advantage of these low cost of property.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to get better. Well, unfortunately for some people it'll be worse, but there will be a lot more inventory starting in January once all these foreclosures start hitting the books and everything. Right. So there'll be more opportunities for investors to take advantage of.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, I'm excited, man. To be honest, like I'm not somebody who's doom and gloom. I mean, COVID has probably had a lot of people feeling a lot of different emotions. There's been a lot of, we have all these protests. We've had a lot of things going on when it comes to social justice. And then you got the COVID thing. People, we've been blessed. Our family hasn't been personally affected by COVID, but we do know that there are people.
And for multiple reasons. One, if folks have a federally backed loan, a FHA loan, they could have gone to whoever was servicing that loan and say, hey, I can't afford to pay the mortgage, and they'll just put a hold on it.
Right.
For I want to say up to 6 months.
Right, and then move it to the end of the loan. So then they wouldn't have to worry about making those payments in a lump sum. They could just move it to the back of the loan. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you haven't taken advantage of that, call your bank. If they haven't gotten in contact with you and it's an FHA loan, then you need to get in contact with that loan servicer so you can take advantage of it. Because we definitely have on some of our properties too. So do what's best for you and get to the paper.
Yeah, and I'll add, if you are not in the same financial position, you should get out of that house before that 6 months is up. Because a lot of people they'll be scrambling at the end to try to save the house. Right. And that's when their credit is going to get shot.
Right.
Because they're going to get behind on the payments because the banks can't wait forever.
Right.
They're gonna do what the government is requiring them to do, and then they're gonna go back to business as usual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is really a chance for you to stop, reset, and then make the best financial move for you so that you don't completely go under. Because you don't have to. You can take advantage of it. If you're listening to this right now, please take care of your business. Don't sit there with your head in the sand thinking that it's just gonna go away, because it's not. Because people did that over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And it didn't end well.
Right. Yeah.
So man, I mean, it's. Did you miss homecoming this year? Like, what school did you go to?
Southern University, man.
Man, how did
Southern
it feel not
University.
there was no homecoming? How you feel about that?
Man, you know, it's our homecoming will usually be between this week and next week, and you know, it's a different feeling. But you know, for good reason.
Right,
So,
right. Man, and you normally
it's one of those things where you know you complain about going back, and it's like, man, they do the same thing every year. You know, same people, same. But then the year you miss it, then you're like, dang. You know,
it's something when something's taken away from you involuntarily.
Right.
Like it was involuntarily taken. Like I like going back to homecoming and seeing all my friends catching up. Sometimes it's actually an opportunity if somebody is going through a hard time, but they came to homecoming and then they get around people that care about them, they can reach out, give them some good information. You know, sometimes they just need to have their spirits lifted up, or maybe somebody who can help them start their plan for them to reset their lives. Like homecoming is a chance to recharge.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really unfortunate. I hope that in 2021 that we all get to go to our respective homecomings and recharge and reset with all our family and friends. So
man, hopefully, bro, we got to have a solution for this.
Right, got to.
COVID by then.
got to. So I want to ask you. You know, I mean, people can go back to episode 2, but since you're listening to this episode, how old were you? Where were you at when you got this real estate like bug? When you just knew that this is where you needed to take your life?
I was 23. I just knew that I needed to get out of the corporate job, and just reading books, real estate just kept coming up over and 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 over as like the first generation wealth creation vehicle that most people use. So for me at that point, it's like I just got to figure it out. I got to figure out what I need to do, and luckily I was able to connect with my line brother worked for Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses, the biggest wholesale franchise in the world now. And he was able to connect me with a contractor there that became my mentor, and I started flipping houses in 2008. So just never looked back from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I mean, that's got to be somebody's story. Yeah. Somebody out there, you've never bought your property, you've never even considered flipping a home, but you're listening to this podcast right now, and this is Christopher Senegal, who at one point he didn't have any property. But then he got a mentor, and then he plugged in, and he was reading and listening to podcast, whatever, and then he started taking action on that. Is that you? The person listening right now, is that you?
Yeah. And understand, like real estate it's not static. The strategies are change as you grow and as you meet people that bring new opportunities. And one that we want to discuss with you is crowdfunding. So I was going to do, the definition of the day.
Oh, you mean Anton's definition of the day.
At its core, crowdfunding means pulling money together from a group of investors to make an investment. In this sense, crowdfunding has existed in real estate for centuries. The major difference between collective real estate investing of the past and crowdfunding for real estate today is the ability to transact online and the unparalleled access to deal flow by using the internet as the new distribution platform. That's one thing that we've noticed with you, and we definitely invested with you when you came out with Buy the Block.
Right. So really, that's our homecoming event for everybody. We got our homecoming theme going on right now. Buy the Block, like doing a crowdfund and supporting a neighborhood or a community. And if you really are against gentrification, this is an opportunity for you to be a part of gentrification, because now you're investing and you benefit from it. Because if you invest in redeveloping your neighborhood or community you care about in a crowdfund like the one that you developed, this is where you do it. This is how you can contribute. This is how you can take advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah. So tell us about the neighborhood and how you went about this first one.
First, let me address what you just read about the crowdfunding. Okay. Even though it's been around for a long time, we haven't had access to that.
Right.
The terminology that other people use for it is called syndication. Right. So and before the Jobs Act that Barack Obama implemented, you had to be an accredited investor to participate in a syndication or a crowdfund, which means you had to have a net worth of $1 million, or you had to have an income of $200,000 or more for the past 2 years. So that automatically excludes 99% of us from ever being able to participate in that. But with the Jobs Act, they created this new tier of crowdfunding where anybody can invest up to $10,000. And you can raise up to $1,070,000 per year with the crowdfund. So that's been in existence for about 10 years now, 8 to 10 years. But not a lot of people have figured out how to use it strategically to benefit the community. And so that's kind of what the Buy the Block movement is really about. Even though, I've been buying contiguous blocks of property since 2013. That term has now become trendy. Right. And the platform that I use actually happened to be named Buy the Block. But it's an actual implementation of everything that term was put in place for. For us to actually be able to go into the neighborhoods. Don't have to wait for Oprah. Don't have to wait for LeBron. We can collectively pool our money and buy big parcels and inhabited parcels of land and property and protect the community while we still make money. It's not philanthropy. You're not donating. It's not a non-profit. You can still make money. We all collectively invest, and we protect our neighbors at the same time.
Right. So we saw it. Like, you went on Instagram and your different platforms and you posted for people to come and invest in this fund. And so, we probably dragged our feet a little for about a month before we finally invested. Sorry about that, bro. But we finally did. We bought our shares. Like, we went ahead and we put down, I don't know, it was like $500. I think so. It was like $500. So we did our part because we want to see him be successful. We want that's at the end of the day, I want to see him being successful. And at the same time too, it was an investment, so we're going to reap a benefit at some point. Right. And I like that also. So did you reach your goal? Did you get to $1,070,000?
Yeah, we maxed it out in July. So it put 7 months. So hit the $1,070,000.
Oh, that was fast. Yeah. To me, Shoot, who raises $1 million in 7 months? Any of y'all? Okay.
And just like you said, just off of social media, not running any ads or anything, just getting the message out and people resharing it and people buying into the vision of what we're doing. So yeah, man, it's powerful.
Powerful. So, so what's next?
So I'm still in the phase of renovating the property. So the project itself was a portfolio of 18 rental properties. Some of the tenants have been there 19, 20 years. Nobody's on Section 8 or housing assistance. Everybody's just hardworking people that are on fixed incomes, right? You got a few seniors that are on Social Security, but the rest of them all work jobs. And just regular workforce. And so to be able to go in and say, hey, all this gentrification is happening around them. Literally 3/4 of a mile from this project site is a 150-acre mixed-use development coming online. First phase will be done in 2023, and it's Class A everything: hotels, office buildings, condos and apartments, restaurants, everything. Despite COVID, they're still moving forward with that project.
And that's going to raise the value of your development.
Exactly. So everything that, as gentrification always does, everything appreciates tremendously, when it's in that vicinity of projects like that. And so this is our opportunity to say, let's stop trying to fight it. We can't fight it. It's capitalism. You can't stop capitalism. But what you can do is position yourself to have a controlling interest in it by owning real estate all around it. And so the 18 houses, the first thing we did was we went in and we renovated them. To a certain extent, didn't want to overinvest in them because the tenants were happy with the way it was, and we wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure I got the best return for all the investors' money. Right. So it makes no sense to go in and completely renovate a unit to collect the same rent. Okay. Right. So you do what's needed, like what you call deferred maintenance, the thing that the previous owners didn't do that could rear its head, like fixing the bathroom plumbing, the rotten wood on the floors, the kitchen cabinets, all the stuff that, after we bought it, could have been repairs that could have caused injury or something in the near future. Right. Fix all that stuff. Fix the roofs, make sure there's no leaks. Go in, put screens in everybody's windows so the electricity bills go down.
We saw a lot of this on your Instagram page.
Did a lot of landscaping, repaved the parking lot. It made all of the residents feel like, okay, we're comfortable that this new owner isn't gonna price us out. He's here to really look out for us. Right. And so you think about it, you got some of the tenants been there 20 years. Right. Imagine how much longer they're gonna stay now. because they see a new owner that's reinvested in the property. So you just de-risk the baseline revenue for the project tremendously, because the tenants aren't going nowhere. Right. So then that allowed me the opportunity to focus on the commercial side. Okay. So it was 2 vacant commercial buildings on Lyons Avenue, which was the Black Wall Street, literally, of Fifth Ward.
Right, in Houston.
Yeah, used to be black businesses all up and down the street before desegregation. Unfortunately, a lot of those businesses went away when we figured out we can go patronize other people's stuff.
Right, yeah.
The downside of desegregation that we don't talk about a lot.
Yeah, we don't.
But anyway, so the history of these 2 buildings, one was built in 1920, one was built in 1925. One of them sat vacant for the past 5 years. The other one had 3 commercial spaces. One was a restaurant, old barbershop, and another little spot. That the other 2 had been vacant for like 50 years. So completely renovating all of those, bringing those back online. One is going to be like a short-term event space, and it's going to generate about $5,000 a month. 40% of that revenue goes to everybody that's in the crowd fund.
You mean us?
Yes, everybody.
Yeah! Give us some money, y'all.
Everybody, yeah. And the residential rents too. So the entire property, what I'm doing is I'm taking 40% of the net rent that's left after we pay all the bills and distributing that out to all the shareholders, just like a dividend from a stock. Now it's not you can get rich off of it, but it's gonna be like 2%, a 2% dividend, right? You on a Nike stock, you get a 1% dividend,
right? So
you're making twice as much.
How much of a dividend you get on a savings account? I don't even know. It's nothing. Next to nothing. 5 or something like that. You know, it's nothing.
Nothing. And that's a great example, because it's like, with a savings account, you make hardly anything, and if the bank's value goes up, your savings don't go up. Right. But when you're on shares of real estate, as the property's value goes up, your investment goes up too.
Right. Look. On this next time around, we're not gonna wait around and be like, let's go put 500. No. We're gonna, whatever the max is, we're gonna be there.
Yeah. The property values already went when I purchased it for $1.25 million. The entire portfolio. It's already worth 1.9, and I'm not even finished renovating it.
That's
so it's gonna be worth about $2.5 million by the time we get everything done. And then we're gonna ride the wave, and as the commercial rents increase, it'll be worth about $3 million.
That's just impressive, man. So let me ask you this: do you know of any other people that are doing what you're doing? Like, this seems like a blueprint or a model that can be replicated in other cities. Like, I mean, right, just here in Texas, maybe Dallas or in Chicago or Detroit or Cleveland. Can people do what you did other places?
Definitely. I don't know if anybody's doing it right now, but I've been tapped by a lot of people. Matter of fact, Bronzeville, Chicago is one. There's somebody that wants to do one in Detroit. I'm working on one in Baton Rouge that's kind of going to take the same model, but it's going to be around the HBCU instead of the neighborhood specifically. But yeah, the model can definitely be duplicated. All I tell people is, if you want to do a crowdfund, you got to understand you're taking a little bit of money from a lot of investors.
Right.
And if you're doing that, you got to make sure it's a safe bet. Right. So there's a couple of other people, and I've even had conversations with Jay Morrison with the way he did his fund. He raised the money, and but his projects were more long term, right? Because like the Black House, beautiful building, lots of potential, but it wasn't generating revenue, and it's going to take time for it to generate revenue. And so you get,
especially with COVID.
Yeah. So you got some investors that don't understand that long term picture.
I'm sure he's getting a lot of flack.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of pushback, but I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. So for me, it's like I'm telling people, if you want to do this, find something that's already got cash flow. Something that you can start setting aside money from day one so that you can pay your investors out on time.
Right.
And then still have, reinvest and increase the value of the property in other ways. So yeah, for me, I'm like, find something with cash flow, find something near a catalyst, something that's already being redeveloped in the community.
Right.
Or something that's already a driver. You don't want to try to be the driver. You just want to ride the wave of something else.
Right. So if there's a university or if there's a bustling mall area, strip mall area that's like new construction.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah. Or even if it's a lot of residential new construction that's going up, where the values are going up.
Because the consumers are there.
Yeah, because there's 2 ways you make money in investing in real estate. Of course, you got cash flow and you got value appreciation. Right. So if you want to do this the right way and you want to protect residents, you don't want to focus on cash flow. If you focus on cash flow, that means you got to raise the rents. Right. That means you're going to displace people. But if you can invest in things that already have decent cash flow where you can still make a decent return, and you ride that value appreciation wave, which is only going to happen if there's another catalyst in the area, then that's how you create the blueprint that works.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. I'm curious.
because we're jumping into new construction. I mean, people know us for renovating properties, but we're jumping into new construction. Can we do this crowdfund to do new construction? Like we, purchase land and build?
You definitely can. It'll just be short term. Like the project that I'm doing is a 7-year hold, right? But yeah, you can definitely do it for short term projects as well.
Yeah, I mean, because in my mind, okay, let's just play a game. In my mind, let's say we purchase a half acre of land and we build a 20-unit apartment building on it, and we somehow were able to get that land subsidized, and then we build new construction, and then we put 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments in there, a mix of apartments, and then we're cash flowing on whatever financing that we get, and maybe the financing is low because what if that project was less than $1 million or was right at the $1 million mark? To do that project. So
yeah, you definitely can. I mean, you could take the money you raise and use that as the equity to leverage into the loan.
Right.
So you raise $1 million, but you can go to the bank and get another $3 or $4 million loan.
Right.
And leverage that to do the entire project.
Right.
And then once it's done and it's renovated and you got it stabilized, the value may be $7 or $8 million. So you can refinance out and
pay it all back.
All
the investors need to understand they won't get paid for either 2 years or 3 years, something like that. Yeah,
it's got to be you just got to communicate to them and understand what type of deal it is and when they should expect returns. And I was big on not begging anybody. I was like, look, pay your bills first.
Right.
Only invest what you got left.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Because I don't want anybody.
And you gave them a time frame. Like it's going to take X amount of years.
Exactly. And I told them up front. I was like, look, I don't want anybody coming to me next year and saying I need my money.
Right. Because
I'm promising very conservative returns. They may be better. But we have to be in this for the long haul. And anybody that was on the fence, I would prefer not to have you as an investor. I don't want to try to. It's not church. I'm not trying to convince you to put your last 10% in.
Right.
For me, it's like let's make sure that everybody that's doing this has the bandwidth to do this comfortably and sleep well at night.
That was a great analogy, man. Definitely a great analogy. And so for me, I mean, I look at the landscape, I look around the country, and that's why we do this podcast, so that we can get these stories and see what's going on all over the country, not just in Chicago, but here we are all the way in Houston seeing what you're doing. Right. And I think to myself, either we can duplicate this and do it again in one shape or form, or someone listening is going to do it somewhere in this country and help our neighborhoods and our community.
Man, I hope everybody does it. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm being so transparent and so open with it. I mean, it would be selfish of me to try to keep the blueprint to myself, and there's no way I could do all this across the country, man. We so far behind. We got to catch up. So the goal is to stay on platforms like this, keep exposing the information, let everybody see, it's not that hard. Once you understand the little pieces to the puzzle, all the variables that we thought were impossible can all come together and make a successful equation, So.
Man, I love to hear it. So, man, what do you see for yourself in 2021? I mean, last year you told us all this stuff that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Give us something that if we brought you back 12 months from now, and we're at homecoming next year.
Yeah. Hopefully.
What will we be talking about in 2021 in your world?
It's crazy, because literally $5 million worth of active real estate projects going on right now that weren't existent 2 years ago. It's crazy. But next year, I'll have completed the second phase of that townhouse development. Getting ready to build 8 more houses. It's a total of 14. Like I said, we got the first 5 built, and we sold those. And so the next phase now is I'm trying to do more large scale projects. So I'm working on a 5.5 acre site right now. That would be a multi-family project.
Okay.
Right in the same neighborhood, right on the other side of the freeway. So I'm actually raising the capital right now to take down the land. It's a huge acquisition. It's like $7 million. So working on that.
Is that still considered Fifth Ward?
It's definitely Fifth Ward.
Of Houston, okay.
Definitely Fifth Ward.
Okay.
So this project will be something on a much larger scale. Kind of continue the same narrative, the same story. We didn't touch on this really, but it's a zero displacement model for the redevelopment too. So everything I'm doing that's new construction has to be on a site that doesn't displace anybody. So we're not going knocking on anybody's doors asking them to sell their house. Right? We're only taking abandoned property, blighted property, drug infested property,
and vacant lots,
nuisance, anything that's bad for the community. That's what you want to remove,
right?
And that's where you want to do the new construction at.
Right.
Everything else you want to just buy the existing rental portfolios from landlords and leave the tenants in place.
Exactly. And we're with that.
Yeah.
We are definitely with that.
Yeah.
So Man, I mean, I'm just happy to hear this, and because your prediction was great, and it actually came true a year ago, I believe in 2021 it's all gonna come to be, man.
Hey, man, we're gonna put all that energy out there. You know, what I mean, whether you worry or not about something, the outcome's gonna be the same. So for me, it's always about just putting the energy into getting to a solution. And I think every project I've done so far, people didn't think it was possible, right? So I'm used to that now. So.
Man, you about showing and proving.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, I would be in so many intellectual conversations with these Ivy League degree black people in corporate America. Blacks.
You know.
Yeah, and they can articulate things so well of why it will not work. And I just realized I had to stop debating with them. I had to stop talking to them and just get to work.
Just be about that action.
Yeah, just be about that action. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, you know, before we close out, is there any charitable organizations or any charitable activities that's going on that you would want people to know about? You know, in Houston or
I would say, yeah.
Anywhere?
So one of my good friends and mentors, Rudy Rasmus, he's a pastor here. He runs Bread of Life Church. Well, no, he has St. John Church, and his nonprofit is Bread of Life.
Okay.
And matter of fact, he's got a wonderful relationship with the Knowles family. They've done some.
You mean like Beyonce and them?
Yeah. He actually.
Well, we are in Houston.
Well, he facilitated the wedding, so that's how they grew up in the church.
Oh yeah, he tight. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So but yeah, so he's got a huge impact in the community as far as like, you know, assisting with homelessness and all the relief efforts for the hurricanes and everything. So if anybody wants to donate in, that's probably the number one nonprofit that I would recommend all day.
Bread of Life.
Bread of Life, yeah.
Yeah, Bread of Life in Houston. All right, well, man, we appreciate you. You know, we always support. We looking to see what's gonna happen next year, and we just want to keep having these conversations with you. Yeah, man, you're our first homecoming alumni to come back, right? Hey. To our podcast.
I love it.
Definitely want to see you again. Probably a year from now. Yeah. Tell them where they can find you.
I just want to cameo on one of these TV shows y'all gonna be.
Hey, you know what? We might actually be able to do that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, y'all stay tuned for that. Hey, where can they find you? You know, if they need to, want to look up your projects or follow what you're doing.
Easiest way is I hate to say this, Google my name, Chris Senegal, or go to learnfromchris.com, and that's gonna link you to everything, my social media, my e-course platform that I have set up. Everything will be there. So, or you can look me up on social media. I'm pretty sure y'all have me tagged on something. Right. My Instagram handle is _investor. So yeah,
don't say I hate to say it. Look, when we saw that we had like 3,000 entries on Google, we realized that's just who you are now. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's making sure you mold your public perception, right? Right. Make people find what you want them to find out about you.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, it concludes this episode of Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. Please stay tuned for Anthony's After Set. Welcome to Anthony's After Set. Well, we're finally back. COVID is still going on. Protests are still going on. And actually, we have an election that is only a couple days away. But the message is still the same. You see the shirts. You see the slogan. You know our mantra. Dream, plan, execute. And now, repeat. Because when you have a dream, and you've actually set your plans in motion and you execute it and you accomplish that goal, it doesn't stop there, it doesn't end there. Now you have to repeat that process with what's next for your life. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 20 years old, you can be 70 years old. Life isn't over because you're still here. Continue dreaming, continue planning, continue finding ways to execute the things that you want for your life. Always repeat. If you have to reset, if you have to refresh, do what you have to do. But as long as you get back in the game. Thank you for coming in and listening to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. Dream, plan, execute, repeat. Hey, do you think people know the process to buying a real estate property? I don't know, but if they do want to find out, they can check out our book. That's what I'm thinking, because if they don't know what real estate professionals they need to use, or if they don't know the process, or even the language, couldn't they find it in the book? I mean, we have all that and more. Every type of person that you need to be in contact with to do real estate investing is in this book. That's right. So please go to Amazon and purchase our book. You can get it in a physical form or you can get it on Kindle. Check it out now.